Hello again in the world of crypto and blockchain, DeFi, IoT. Let's talk today about Flux. You know, there's ways you can get into Flux with GPU mining, and we do that. But I want to talk to you more today about nodes and what change is coming up for Flux and how we can then get into it now and get a node. It was really expensive. Now it's going to become much more affordable to make a passive income on a node with Flux. Let's jump into it. Before we begin, I need to make a disclaimer. Here at DeFi IoT Latin America, we are not professional financial advisors, or are we paid by any company to promote certain products. We here at DeFi IoT Latin America, we invest our own money. We take our own risks. We learn, we make mistakes, and we share what we learn, our successes and our mistakes with you. So this video is for educational purposes only. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe, hit the bell, give us a thumbs up, and write to us what more you'd like to learn. Let's go in now and see what else we can share with you. Really good. Short of jumping into how Flux actually works, you know, there's two ways you can get into it. We'll talk about it in a minute. With GPUs, which are the graphics cards, and there's also through nodes. I want to jump on and focus on the nodes because some changes coming up on March 1st that's going to allow us to now be able to get into a node. Let's just go through and just briefly look at what this is. Basically is this. We talk about, we look for solutions here at DeFi IoT. And the solution that we see, or problem we see coming down the road, especially in the Metaverse, is we're going to need some sort of a decentralized cloud system, right? For holding digital data. And that's where we came in with like the SC Prime and these others, Revel-Fi, etc. Now here's something else. There's going to be a lot of what devs or I should say dApps, you know, these decentralized applications, and they're going to be trying to develop in the cloud, but they're not going to really have the material to do it. So you'd have to really put a lot of investment in your infrastructure to be able to develop in the Metaverse, I should say, down the road. So a solution comes along on Flux. Now, Flux operates on what they call proof of work concept, and that is the mining of GPUs. Keep in mind, though, please, the mining of GPUs, a lot of that now, and yes, you have that at home with single GPUs, etc. But a lot of this mining, the mining farms of GPUs, and for Bitcoin, we call ASIC miners, the bigger ones, that is going to renewable energy. It's not spending the energy that many politicians and so forth are trying to poop on and say that it does. There is no huge carbon footprint. Amazon, for criminy sakes, has a much greater carbon footprint with their computer systems and their databases than the actual whole of the GPUs. Okay, look. So Flux is going to provide them this system decentralized because it's proof of work. These GPUs provide something that even governments can't penetrate at this point. So it can remain decentralized. When it goes to proof of staking, means that people stake, they put their money in, and that creates this system, this algorithm that's supposed to be confidential. But that allows the wealthy to become wealthier. I'll show you why. Because you need to stake to get a node as well. And I'm going to show you where the staking is at right now with Flux. How it's just out there for very, very difficult for us to be able to jump into. Like we talked about the Gala Games the other day, and how I can get into that now with $1,200 plus transaction fee, maybe $1,300. So it's accessible to know this, accessible to get involved with. and providing a new system of music that will allow the artist to gain more, and we can gain too as we purchase. And as we purchase an NFT that's musical, we can actually gain money. We're actually linking that with a node. So anyway, Flux nodes, they basically provide a network, a system throughout the whole world that's going to become decentralized because it's based off of proof of work. These GPUs, the graphic cards, right, which Ethereum run on now and Bitcoin started on before. A lot of it renewable energy. So then they're going to keep this decentralized and out of stakers' hands. In other words, it cannot be controlled by the wealthy. You can't come in and just buy a stake and then begin to weigh in on the votes. This will remain proof of work, and proof of work is much more secure in the blockchain. So based on this, it becomes decentralized. What are they decentralizing? Well, they are providing a system where people who or businesses or small companies with ideas who want to develop a new system in the metaverse can come in and actually build on this. So it's a much more affordable and practical way to come in and build through a program that Flux offers. So they're getting the amount of CPU, the amount of memory, things that they need, the hardware that they need to be able to come and build their dApps onto the metaverse and onto various different blockchains. So basically, they provide this service. So that's one plus. Is it a plus that has a future down the road? Obviously, the metaverse is coming. It's just in the beginning stages now. And it's going to be here and it's going to develop incredibly between here and 2030 and beyond. This is Web 3.0. So let's just go with that in mind and talk a little bit about Flux. And then I want to show you how we can get involved with this as of March 1st. So keep an eye on this. And you can get involved by staking, getting a node, and you're actually staking your node. So you could actually get your money back out of this later. And Flux goes up in price, you actually can then get a return on your actual coin. Now, Flux is its own blockchain, so keep that in mind, okay? Enterprise grade. So they're going to provide enterprise grade hardware. Flux nodes are hosted on enterprise grade hardware in decentralized manner all over the world. So it's to be a worldwide, a global node hosting. So anybody can get involved. I don't care where you are. Node operators have a host of choices, including bare metal, cloud-based, ARM64, and even VPS servers. So there's ways you can get involved in. You can have your own hardware, you can build it, you can build your own server, your own computer, and soon you're going to be able to get in even with simple Raspberry Pi builds. Right? There's specifications. We'll get into that in a minute. It's scalable. Flux nodes must meet certain minimum requirements. That's going to be important, okay, to be accepted. Rewards. Flux node operators are rewarded daily running the node, with block rewards being split 50-50 between the Flux node operators and the actual GPU miners that maintain the proof of work algorithm. Okay? Flux nodes are run in dozens of countries around the world, providing a truly distributed computational platform. So before, you'd have to go into like Amazon, AWS, and actually go in and pay for this service and be able to obtain this type of a service. Look here, let's go and look at this real quick. You can look at this and see, we'll just show you what the definition here is. A VPS hosting, for example, it's a cloud virtual private servers. A VPS servers hosting with truly flexible cloud service, okay? Allow you to completely customize your hosting environment. So a VPS host or somebody who actually is paying for that service to be able to host a node, then like with AWS and so forth and other smaller ones, some in Germany, you can actually go into and pay for. Now, but that's all centralized. So now we're going to decentralize that. And the idea, this whole idea is to be allowed for cheaper price, people to be able to develop dApps or applications or their projects in the metaverse in the months to come, okay? What are Flux nodes? Flux nodes operators supply dedicated computing power, which generates rewards in Flux for powering the network. There are multiple options. Flux is the coin, right? There are multiple options for supplying computing power, including renting from VPS providers, renting a dedicated server, or host multiple Flux nodes, which is more decentralized actually, or purchasing a server outright, which is much more expensive and detailed, and hosting a data center or well-equipped home office. Okay? Let's jump in here real quick. It's scalable in decentralized computational networks. The Flux OS is powered by Flux node infrastructure run by individual Flux holders. Flux nodes are geographically spaced all over the world, so developers can be assured that their apps are accessible by users at all times and locations. There are multiple options for supplying computing power. The node operator decides what's best for them. You can host from home or rent through a VPS provider. You can use your own hardware, be it the dedicated server. Now, renting a VPS provider, to my opinion, kind of avoids the whole purpose of decentralizing. You're just centralizing it again, right? So what they're going to do is make some changes so that that's going to be actually less incentivized, a VPS provider. And that's the way I feel about this. So does this have a good solution to it going forward? We here at DeFi IoT feel yes. Let's look at that, what they're making currently, what you might be able to make in the future. There's no exact numbers right now, but I'll just show you some numbers and costs of how you can get in and what some requirements are going to be. And you can look this up and see if it's something you like to do. This is a passive income, right? So keep that in mind. Current Flux node structure is this. If you need 10,000 Flux to stake, you got to stake 10,000 Flux. At the current price of $1.60 a Flux coin, you're going to be looking at $16,000 to stake. And then there's a reward split out. Remember, there's 50% of the rewards that are split between GPU miners and those of nodes. So in that split of the nodes, you've got 7.5% goes to what they call the cumulus, which is the entry level for nodes to get in. You have the 12.5% at the Nimbus, and then you have 30% at the Stratus. Now, look at the difference though going in. You need $16,000 up to $160,000 to get in currently. Now, look at this. As of March 1st, and then it's going to be programmed, there's going to be a halving, what's going to take place. And if I'm not mistaken, the halving is like every 2.5 years, something like that. There'll be this halving, and this halving is going to also lower the threshold that we have to pay to get in to host a node. Now, there are requirements. You want to use a computer, or you want to get a Raspberry Pi and build one, or even go on to these VPS servers. But the idea is to be independent, to be decentralized. So what can we do to get involved? Here's what's going to happen. It's going to come down to 1,000 Flux has to be staked. That means only $1,600. Then you got 12,500 and then 40,000. Obviously, these are going to be a little steeper, but the payout scale is different. Now, you can do strategies. You can think about this because if somebody has a 10,000 Flux node now, if you go back up here, they have the cumulus, right? They have this node now. Now they're going to go down to 1,000 Flux nodes. So you're probably going to have more people come on board. So basically, you have to consider that this 50% is going to be spread out between all the node holders. So how much money do you make? Well, let's look at what's currently being made with the current staking that's involved in hosting this node. Remember, a node is a software that you're basically downloading onto either your own hardware or something that you're renting from another provider. Okay. The idea is that it's your own hardware. It could be a computer, it could be a small computer, it could be a server you build at home, etc. There are requirements. As you can see here, there's requirements. These are the old requirements here. Not even bother going into them. Now, this whole idea, well, these are new requirements, I'm sorry. For us to get involved, the simple form is going to be, this is what we need to have. 2 cores, right, our CPU, 4 threads. Right, this would be our CPU. 8 GB of RAM, 220 GB of SSD memory, 100 megabytes of DWS, and 440 EPS minimum requirements, all right? Now, you need 25 megabyte bandwidth, which is not very much at all, but that's if you talk about some sort of basic packages now. In some places, it might be 25 megabytes. So you're going to make sure that for the up and the down, that's going to have to be 25 megabytes clear for that purpose. Now, basically, it's going to take place. The cumulus is going to go into March 1st through March 22nd. Then the Nimbus is going to make their changes to March 15th through April 5th. The Stratus can be April 1st through April 30th. So they're going to change all the previous hardware requirements and come down here. Now, look, it was 2 cores, 4 threads, 2 cores. And that's all you needed to get involved with the 10,000 with the cumulus. Now you need 2 cores, 4 threads.
There are some really good videos out on exactly what these are, so you can check these out to see how you can build these. And I recommend you do if you want to look into this. We found through the videos I've watched, it's going to be cheaper for us to get the Raspberry Pis. It's going to cost about $250, but to get a case for USB and so forth is about maybe about $250. Okay, so you might be interested about $300. And then what you're going to make back on this, well, it's kind of hard to say because who knows how many more nodes are actually going to be built because it's cheaper to get into. I know we're going to get involved now. That's going to get cheaper. We're going to build our own Raspberry Pi. So when we do that, we'll share that with you. I'm sure other YouTubers can do the same thing, but I want to provide that same for our listeners. So as of March 1st, it's going to be much easier to get in with $1,600 to host a node on the Flux network. Now, is this something that we think has good potential to it? Obviously, we just explained this. Explain where the role is going into the metaverse coming forward. Remember, the metaverse is this whole digital world that's coming, right? This year, there's going to be 500 games they're going to try to get out just on the metaverse alone. That's what was projected. So maybe they'll come up less, maybe they'll come up more. Look at this. Here's where you're currently at. With 10,000 Flux for $16,000, you're making about $5.40 a day right now. You're making after profitability, you're making your profitability after all costs about $239 a day. So is your return on investment really that good monthly hosting a node at this price? No, it's not. So it's going to all have to depend on really how much money you're going to spend, how much money you're going to get back with the new nodes. So we're going to do one or two of them to experiment with to see what it provides. I actually like the system, so I want to kind of help the system out. So if I can make money off it and I'm helping the system grow, I think this is good because it's going to allow you and I and people like us to be able to get in easier and develop in the metaverse. If we want to develop our own games or develop our own build our own construction or what we want to put our mind, our ideas to work in the metaverse. So to keep it all simple, then that's what Flux is going to do. It's going to make it so you and I can get involved. It's going to make it easier for people to get involved and develop their ideas. That's what Flux does for us. The final, we talked about the XaMiner Flux on GPUs as well. Right now, it's not paying as high as Ethereum, but we'll see where that's going to go because I know they do want that proof of work support. So that gives hope for those who mine with GPUs in the future. But let's see when all the hash moves from all the hash power moves from actually Ethereum into Flux or wherever it's going to go to. We'll see. Another thing is you can always buy the stake. You can buy the coin, to not just stake it, but to hold it, to hodl it. You can buy it. Flux coin is sold on a lot of different exchanges, different platforms. And the fact that you have the actual team here that you can go in and read about. So they're very visible. Now they're not alone. This was Zcash in the past. So they've got experience. And you have the Zcash wallet that's going to allow you to be able to move a lot throughout on this whole platform, this whole Flux software. So it allows a lot of flexibility and ability for people to actually come in and develop their ideas. And that's what we like about Flux. We think that has a good future to it. If you like what we're bringing you, please do not subscribe, hit the bell, give us a thumbs up. We need that for the algorithms. And yeah, DeFi IoT, we'll talk to you tomorrow.